like that little heart you've got, on the side of your name. Love represents love, which you are, which all of us are. Om, hello, good morning, Oma, Paloma, Pavitra. Pavitra Ben, is that you? Are you our Hindi translator? We've already got her on. Excellent. So we've got loads of translations, except we're not going to have French, and we're not going to have Russian, okay? Good morning, Rachna, Raj, Viva, Ricardo, Rosa. Hi, Sabjali, how are you? All ready for this morning? Salinder, Sadhana, Sandhya. Sandhya, what's it like in South Africa? Hi, Sanita, Shayla, Sevim. Good morning, Shobna, Sylvia, Simon, Steven, Sue. Good morning. Good morning to all of you. Hi, Suparna, Sujata, Tracy, Vijay Lakshmi, Vinodevi. It's so lovely to have you all with us. Yes, we are just waiting now for, Louise, thank you so much for your sweet message. It's great to be with you as well. Do you know, yes, we are waiting. We're waiting for our brother Prashant to join us. And then we will definitely start. He did join us for a second, and then I don't know, where is he? Oh, there he is. He's just popped up. Good morning, Prashant Bhai. Very warm welcome, and very warm welcome to all of you. I think we've had a lovely chit chat, just saying hello to everyone and connecting with each one from different parts of the world. So very warm welcome, especially to the newcomers. Thank you for writing in the chat box, the country you are from and the fact that you are new. Sweet reminder, you might want a notebook, pen, and a nice drink by your side before Prashant starts. So as you can see, because this is a webinar, the videos and audios of all the attendees are muted, okay? But please feel free to use the chat box and, to communicate with each other, the whole group, with us, Prashant, everyone. Now, as always, the intensive format, it's usually a 2-hour event. About 1.25 hours is usually the main session, and then it's followed by 45 minutes of questions and answer session, where you will write any questions, if you have, into the chat box, and I will read them out to Brother Prashant. Okay, now we have a wonderful topic. The positive universe. It's interesting. I got, Prashant Bhai, I actually got a message from someone saying after that, after I sent the flyers out, they said, no, I don't believe the universe is positive. And I said, you join us this Saturday and you will see. That's why I put that image there. It's all about how we see things. So what do I believe about the universe? Do I believe it's positive or negative? Or is it a mixture of both? Am I able to experience the magnificence magnificence, I'll get that right, my tongue is in a twist, magnificence and richness of the self, of yourself, and everything around you? Do you really see it the way it is? Well, to explore this beautiful topic in depth today, we have our brother all the way from Cambridge, Brother Prashant Kakoday. I think most of you know or have heard of Brother Prashant, but for those newcomers and others who may not know anything about him, let me tell you a little bit about him. He's actually Dr. Prashant Kakoday, or maybe I think you're a Mr., aren't you? From your Lokik thing, no? Okay, anyway. So to let you know, everyone, I think who knows him can see, so he was born in India, but he's presently based in Cambridge. He did his diploma in ENT surgery from the Royal College of Surgeons in 1982 in London. For the past 30 plus years, he has involved himself in the understanding and teaching the spiritual principles of life and health. His views on health, entitled The Concept of Total Health, was presented to various medical institutions, including the WHO. His main interests are in the field of psyche, emotions, behavior, and health. He is himself a student and teacher with the Brahma Kumari Spiritual University. He feels that the present day society is conditioned into limitations and that a fundamental shift is necessary for the civilization to survive. His ideas on consciousness and health have led him to being invited to speak in more than 80 countries. He has spoken at various universities, medical schools, and organizations, including the United Nations in Geneva and the medical teaching program within the USA. He presently coordinates the Inner Space and the Center for Integral Health in Cambridge, UK. So, without more ado, let us give a warm Saturday morning intensive family welcome to brother Prashant. Very warm welcome, Prashant.
Thank you. And a very welcome to the gathering, and greatly appreciate Madhavi for creating a very positive atmosphere. So we already start on the positive note here. So let us create just another few moments of silence. And we are going to watch a few short videos to begin with. So in this silence, let us reflect on the word beyond. This will be very important for our meditation today. The word beyond and the world beyond. Higher, beyond, above. And we see that world in image of a sky. And just be directing our mind there. We are able to experience. In whatever image we see, whatever color we see, the important word is beyond. And as we prepare to come back, come into actions and come in this world, our attitude is we are guests. We come here as guests. We come here as travelers. Thank you. In this first video that we are going to see, short, maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes, we are going to see how the same world we can see very, very differently. And so we will see this image now with this video. We are seeing this lady sitting on the deck, and as if the camera is zooming back and zooming out. And now you are seeing, continuing to see the bigger map and bigger map. You are seeing the boat now. Now you see that that boat is on the bus, and now you are zooming out, and what you are seeing is we are seeing the boat, this bus at a distance, and that bus itself is in a television screen. Someone is watching the television. Within that is the bus. And now you are seeing that the lady who is watching the television is in this Arizona stamp. Maybe we'll stop at this level, but it gives you an idea as we are zooming out. What you thought, was very, very serious. This lady is in the deck, and you are thinking of the safety of this lady, and then you are realizing it is a painting on a boat, on a bus, and that boat itself is a painting, and that bus is within the television screen, and that television screen and that lady is a stamp, Arizona stamp. So what we are proposing here, we can see this world with a very narrow intellect. We can see the broader, we have that option. And as we see the broader picture, we see differently. And we have the option, and it is important for us to see this world the way it is. We will be seeing another short video, because for us, very important aspect for this gathering, to understand about the soul, not just as a nice concept, not a belief, not a faith, but we need to be sure. It is such a big thing to know that there is a soul. Important is it yes or no? Because the entire medical institution doesn't talk about soul. All your television programs and all, and universities, no one is teaching about the soul. So to even talk about the word soul, we have to be questioning this. Is it yes, does soul exist? Or no, soul doesn't exist. And then we can proceed further. So we are using the word nischay, that is the word we use in Hindi. And nischay means knowing, not just a faith, not a belief, but conviction about it. And we are going to see this short video where one professor from Virginia University by name Ian Stevenson, he studies the cases, all this paranormal area. He's a psychiatry professor at that time, and he studied reincarnation cases. And in time, there was an institute it is still there, called Personality Studies, Division for Personality Studies. And they have got 24,000 cases of reincarnation, children who remember another life. But we are going to watch an interview with him. And let us see this short video.
Professor Stevenson has studied hundreds of birthmarks and birth defects in children who claim previous lives.
I'm
particularly interested in a collection we have about 15 cases where there are two birthmarks corresponding to bullet wounds of entry and exit. And forensic pathologists know that nearly always when you shoot somebody, the bullet wound of entry is small and round, and the
sound is maximum here.
So. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Bullet wound of exit is large and irregular in shape, and that's the way our birthmarks, in about half of these cases, they correspond exactly that way.
This boy was born without a right ear. but with memories of the life of a man who was shot in the head.
He remembered the previous life of a peasant farmer, this was in Turkey, who went to sleep at the end of the day in a pasture, and a neighbor came along hunting rabbits, and in the twilight mistook this sleeping peasant for a rabbit and shot him with a shotgun at point-blank range. We were able to go to the government hospital where the wounded man had been taken, and there we found a report showing that he died about 10 days later of hemorrhage in the brain. And this boy had memories of this man's life and his death.
The skull of a Turkish miller killed by a blow to the back of the head with a flour shovel. This picture is from the official post-mortem report. Later, a child claimed to remember the miller's life. The boy had a misshapen skull. Violent death occurs frequently in Stevenson's best cases. He speculates that the trauma of such a death may cause it to be remembered. This Burmese man recalled a previous life as a notorious bandit who was captured and executed for murder.
The hanging was bungled, so that he had to be hanged twice. And the subject, who had the memories of this brigand, was born with a almost absent lower jaw. His mandible was exceedingly small, and his mouth was very narrow and tight, so that he really can only take liquid food, and he can't open his mouth. But birth defects of the kinds that we have in these cases are uncommon, and they're not the sort that you find in the textbooks of birth defects, the monographs, with rare exceptions. A few of them are, but most of them are not.
In a village in northern India in the 1970s, a small boy lost the fingers of his right hand in a fodder chopping machine. Later, the child died, but in a neighboring village, a boy was born who claimed memories of the dead child's life. There was other evidence too.
Maybe we can stop.
Lekpal's case was investigated by Dr. Stevenson and the Indian parapsychologist Dr. Satvant Pasricha.
Excellent. And maybe we'll go for the next video, and then we'll have the discussion.
Back in 1892, there was an article published in the yearbook of the Swiss Alpine Club. Albert von St-Gallenheim was a geology professor who decades earlier had been hiking in the Alps and fell. And as he fell, he kind of left his body and watched his body repeatedly crashing into the rocks as it was falling. And he wrote in his account of it that he had previously watched people fall, and it was terrifying to watch someone fall. But when he himself was falling, it was a blissful experience. And he said he watched himself getting bloodier and bloodier, and he was totally detached from it. And time seemed to stop for him. The faster he fell, the slower time got for him. And he had time to think about how he needed to twist around as he was falling, so he landed in a snowdrift rather than on the rocks. He had time to think about whether he should take his glasses off so he wouldn't break them. He thought about the class he was supposed to teach next week. He thought about his deceased, his loved ones who he left behind. All this in a matter of a few seconds while he was falling. And he was so stunned by this experience that he started asking other climbers. And he quickly found 30 other cases and published his collection of 30 cases in the yearbook of the Swiss Alpine Club in 1892.
Excellent. So, sorry for quickly going through this part of it, but it gives us some material to discuss and to build up our ideas. So now I'm going to use the whiteboard, and you will see a little screen. You can adjust and create space for yourselves. All of this, what it shows to us that we have to see this world in a new model, new paradigm. Like these cases that Ian Stevenson talks about. Just one case of this kind is enough to show us that there is something more than just a body. And the model that is taught to us here in our largely media and in our colleges and universities, it is incomplete model. We are not seeing the complete picture. And it is not just a question of some believe in the soul and some don't believe in the soul. If there is a soul, it changes the whole positioning completely. Where is this coming from and what is its origin and where it goes back? Many things change. And we are going to see a simple description what the model will be if this is real. And if that is real, then the game is very, very different. What this model tells us is that we all, and let me draw this again, make it a bit smarter. So here we are saying we all are from this invisible world. A nice word, soul, but these are invisible players that belong to a different world, definitely the world beyond. Right now we are interacting here, but there is a different origin, and there is more details about this. If I am from there, all of us are from that world, and that world, we have no evidence that world has end. All that we can say, our experience of this physical world comes to an end. Just as if I go in some room, I can say I definitely have limited experience of that room. I go, I come out. Something similar happens here. However, every experience comes to an end. Doesn't mean the experiencer comes to an end. Just a very rational model that this invisible player is passing through this physical life, physical experience, but he has a world beyond. And this model says he is eternal, he is safe. Starting position is this. Now, what has happened to us during this journey? What we saw in that first video, there is a boat and there is a bus and there is a television screen and there is a stamp. If I get drawn into something more and more, then I completely ignore that there's the stamp there. I'm worried about the boat sinking. Something similar has happened to us in this. And there is good reason if we are, associated with something day in and day out. There is a chance we can get drawn in. Children can get drawn into something like this more than adults. That's why children end up creating attachments more easily. Intellect is not able to grasp this. And so this model tells us that at present, human beings, we all have got some areas to address. There are challenges. And first, our problem is there is a confusion. All of us, if we use the word invisible player, what are the few things that he has to deal with? First, he has gone into confusion he doesn't know the bigger map completely, and get drawn into something that is smaller. The second problem for him is he entered into bondage. If you are just a traveler passing through temporarily, if you are a guest, and if you start thinking this is mine and this is mine, and completely forget that you have an exit, then it means there is a bondage. But it becomes a web. It doesn't remain like a one bondage, it is a web. So here, the invisible player is in the bondage, he's caught in the web. One can say trapped in that web. He doesn't even know that he is trapped in the web, invisible player. How many of your neighbors and people in your town say that they are in bondage? They don't even know. They think they got life is good and easy. Which means that the invisible player is not even conscious. He is unconscious. And what is another big problem in this? His enemy, no one looks like anyone is unconscious here. The enemy of this invisible player, which is the ego, he is in charge of his life and his mind. So the enemy is running the show. Just like some enemy country was to rule your town. They are not thinking about you. They just want more soldiers and they want your gold and they want to go. So it is something like that. There's an enemy here, which is the ego. And this enemy is ruling the mind full time, 24 hours, and is ruling the life. Each of these areas are big areas. If your friend was confused, you will think it is something very serious. Someone in your family, there is confusion. You will go there to address this. If someone is caught in a trapped somewhere, that is another big situation, serious situation. Someone is unconscious. In a hospital, even in an emergency, someone is unconscious. It gets an absolute priority compared to any other emergencies. An enemy is ruling the life and mind. All these are big areas, and this is the story of the invisible player. So if we are now seeing a completely different picture here, we are seeing that it is not a question, what some details, the way we define there is a problem of some kind, some country, there can be some situation, by one politician behaving wrongly. No, here we are seeing there are much bigger issues, for all of us. Now this becomes obvious when we are seeing the bigger map. If I am to see just that smaller map, if I just get caught in this, then I miss out on this bigger picture altogether. Now in this map, when I'm seeing this big map, you're seeing what is happening here is a theater. Just as we saw in that video that you saw. There's a boat, there's a bus, there is a television screen, there is a stamp. If someone is so caught up in the boat and trying to help the boat and worried about passenger, he will think he's wasting his time when he understands the bigger picture. Realizes that he was fooled in really worrying about this boat. Same here. We are seeing that at present our intellect is childish. This invisible player is not seeing with his full potential. He's seeing in a childish way. And then this story has become his complete reality. He's trying to change the story. He is trying to change the past. There are many things that are not right there, according to him. And in the story, there is dragon, and in the story, there are end. Every episode comes to an end. All of these are problems to the invisible player when he's approaching it with the narrow intellect. One word that rules the life of each and everyone on the planet at present. What is that word? Just one word rules the life of each and everyone. And that word is what is that word? The end. It is not the end of the world, but just the end of your job, end of some relationship, end of body. We don't like this word end. And everyone is busy. Their whole life they're fighting this word end. And what happens? At this level, everything ends. That is the nature of every theater. Every episode comes to an end. Change is constant going on. This gathering right now, this is going to end. So everyone leads a life of a failure. All their life, they're fighting this end, and they feel they have lost it all. Everything they achieved, it is gone. And we are not made to lead a life like this. And the one is the failure, but all kinds of our complicated emotions and feelings, they are secondary to this childish perspective. I'm using the word childish because we are not using our adult intellect. This is what we are meaning. If I was to use the adult intellect, the game changes completely. The reason we saw that video with Ian Stevenson, just a little thing, to show that this is not just a belief area. There is something more to this. That is what I want to show. It is more you look into this subject, you realize there is that we are missing out. Our present world misses out. In the science world, there are questions asked in this, and even with Ian Stevenson, some of his papers, when people study this, you realize just like a black and white, such evidence. And then some other university, some comments come, and his research is thorough, his methodology is perfect, it is very good, his evidence is very good. But if he's right, we all are wrong. This kind of comment. And that is true. If he's right, we all are wrong, and we will have to start all over again. Lots of our theories and all, we may have to throw them out. Now this is what the choice the world is given, or science world is given. Some others make the comment, he's right, his theories are right, but we cannot use it. which means it doesn't fit in within our model, and so we cannot use it, which is fine. If that is the way some are staying within the science world, that's fine. For you and me, we may have to go beyond those limitations. In the present world, we as if hope that science and medical world will give us the answers to truth. And we have to go beyond this, because within science world, they do make a statement. They don't know. No one says they know. But in the meantime, they are full fledged, they are with full force promoting the incomplete model. So when I see the bigger map to start with, even let us just see this map, you are realizing that there is something nice about this. And what is nice? Everyone is immortal. Let us just play with this. That what if we are all in these invisible players and invisible travelers? Realize that that dimension is a timeless dimension. We all are immortal. And when you realize this, something nice happens in our psychology, in our reactions. Anyone who understands he is immortal, he becomes free from lots of petty things. We said lots of our desires and aspirations are just to survive. People become greedy and they become violent just to survive. Even right now, what Putin is saying, in the Ukraine and Russia, what is the statement from Putin? He wants security. That is all. Because of security, we are seeing all this, war and people dying everywhere. Maybe on both sides, people are dying. And same is happening within you and me. Each one of us, we want to feel secure. And we are working at a very personal level. I want to be secure, and you want to be secure. And in our incomplete thinking, we want security in that insecure box. We are trying to make ourselves secure in that temporary. It is blatantly temporary. It has an end. My time there has an end. And I am hoping that I will feel secure in that. And for that, I have to collect bombs and missiles. And I have to collect gold and spend my whole life working for this. Such is the absurdity. But when you discover or touch this side, you are immortal, you become free from this. You realize that you are safe, and I don't need guns, and I don't need these missiles, and I don't need a gold either. There is no desperation. You are seeing your world very, very differently. Another thing that happens when you are at this level, invisible player, if we are using this word, invisible player, he understands nothing can harm him. If this is a theater, theater cannot harm him at all. In the theater, there can be one dragon and there can be 10 dragons. And at the theater, episodes finish. For their fire, it cannot harm him. And if theater cannot harm him, there is nothing anywhere that can harm him either. But in absolute reality, Immortal means this. Nothing in the three worlds can harm you, even the slightest. And what happens when you realize this, that nothing can harm you, you discover a flip. I'm using this word, flip. You discover the other side of you. Now you discover the energy of fun. As an example, say you were shown what, a gun. A child points a gun at you. There's a gun. But the moment you realize it's a toy gun and it is not going to harm you, it becomes fun for you. You are seeing it as a toy, and you want to play with a child, and you want to pretend as if you are getting shot. The energy changes. When something cannot harm you, it becomes a gift. It becomes what? A story. It becomes a game. It becomes an entertainment. If something can harm you, then it is a different game. You miss all of this. Then you have to defend, and you have to fight. Then a different instinct takes over. Something like this happens here. When you are playing with this, the invisible, we are using the word invisible player, and he's a player, and he understands nothing in the three worlds can harm him, and then every moment is a gift for him. When he creates ego, so why people don't feel like this naturally in this, they don't say everything is a gift. It is because when we are in this journey in the physical world, and when we give birth to ego, within this I, this kind of a position, each ego is hardwired in a mindset of a victim. Ego is based upon that story. Ego means that created such attachments within that temporary world that he defines himself, based upon the job or car or dog, or it can be anything. He defines himself. That is what it means, ego. And that whole world is unpredictable. It is going to go. So he spends his life, his dreams, all of this is based on the mentality of a victim. Even if he gets whatever, he's forever a victim, regardless of his success. So the only way they try to solve it is making the ego bigger. That is what they think will make them feel secure. So they want a bigger head, and they want more praise, and they want a bigger position. So they get all this. What happens at the end of it? Now he's more of a victim. See the lifeline of all the dictators in history. What all that happens with dictators, the ego blows up, in a big way. And when the ego is bigger, then you are in big trouble. Big ego is in paranoid. It is far more insecure. And so he will be doing anything that is possible to, what will the potential victim will do? His reactions will be from that. So that is the life. They are quick at taking offense, quick at giving offense, That is the life of the ego. Sometimes people say, oh, so and so has got an ego. We cannot know, we cannot really say that statement about anyone else. That is a non-statement to say someone has got an ego. But the person himself can know based upon, do you take offense? Based on anything that is going on in this world, do you take sorrow? If you have taken sorrow, then you have crossed the line. You are in that childish mind. And definitely there will be some ego there. And if you are taking offense, you will give offense. The whole game is different. You are dealing with some sorrow, little sorrow, more sorrow, but you are busy, In that mind, life is of complaint, craving, criticism, concern, questions. This becomes the life. And origin of all this is confusion. It starts with confusion. And you are into this mind, in a 1% or 100%, but that is the option. And this is not the only option for us. We have got other options. What are the other options? Other option, as we saw, we just have to zoom out and let us experiment with the bigger map. And when you are seeing the bigger map, you are seeing that the story is a great story. And the dragons look great, a beautiful performance of the dragon. And the episode ends, another episode starts, sure. And you, if at all, you are seeing now your invisible brothers who are visiting this story. They are the actors, invisible brothers, they are the actors. This is not a concept for the one who is awake. This is not a nice model. For him, these are his brothers. And his idea of intervention is not to try to change the story, but he wants these brothers to come out of this deception. If they are into this childish thinking, that they have to come out of that childish thinking. That is more important, serious than try to change the story or remove the dragons. The full love, when one is in that space, you are loving, of course, but just the method of intervention is different. How you are seeing things, it is different. In any case, say if there is a patient in the hospital and there are doctors, they are treating him. But one who has got the right diagnosis is more useful to everyone. He saves time of other doctors also, and he helps the patient, and it can be very quick, but you need a right diagnosis. Same here. When we are in confusion, we are going in circle, making it worse even. Here, when you are out of this confusion, seeing the full map, it is very clear. You know exactly what is happening. And the invisible brothers, they have to come out of this deception. And they have to discover their immortality and their greatness and their life with God and their life without the victim mind. They are never victims. Invisible player, he knows he's never a victim. Story, 10 dragons come and King Kong also comes. And And things come and go, episodes finish, story finishes, but he's never a victim. He may be playing a part there, and part finishes also. But the invisible player knows, doesn't get a feeling, even for a second, that he has been a victim anywhere. He never takes offense. And so the game is different, energy is different. And we will play with this, we'll create time for this experience. But as you are doing this, it doesn't end just with, with theoretical, message of fun, he feels fun. The moment you play with it, the moment you come in that world, you will experience bliss. Silent bliss. And this is now, and this is today. It is not a long process. That dimension beyond is a dimension of happiness. That world is a world of happiness. All that happens, and it sort of helps us to understand each and every one, their starting position is of happiness. Only when they start creating this artificial sorrow, some concern, not a big thing, but even a concern or little anxiety, little past disappointment, one drop is enough. Just like if in a glass of milk, there is one drop of poison, the whole thing becomes poison. Glass of milk, there is no poison, you get milk. In the same way, in our mind, when there is no drop of poison, which means no drop of fear or, disappointment, there's no drop. Then what remains is a state of happiness. And happiness comes with friends. So that region is a region of happiness. And we are suddenly understanding that each and every one, these invisible players, each and every one is immortal, is happy. Nature is happy. He doesn't need cakes to be happy. His nature is of silent bliss. And another natural instinct within human beings is love. Until I feel that other person can harm me, this area of potential harm, that is what blocks our happiness or love. If I feel someone can harm me in some way, and more ego I create, then there are many people who can scratch me somewhere. So love becomes less and less. Invisible player who is out of this confusion. He feels he's beyond harm. No one can harm him, even if there is an intention. No one can harm him. He is beyond harm, and so he becomes harmless. He finds everyone else is immensely lovely. The right word for that region is it is a region that is divine. Nothing inauspicious in that dimension. No one feels anything inauspicious. That's why each and everyone is lovely. They are childlike, harmless. They don't know what causing harm. Just as if you are with some child, some innocent child. You are ruled by love, and you don't think about beating them out of nowhere. Those you find it absurd, even if that thought comes. it is filled. This is bit maniac. In the same way here, in this reality, everyone is childlike, godlike, clean, innocent, and it's a region of love. It is a big love. It is not some little vibration of love. It is everyone is lovely and loving in a full measure. Such is that dimension, whether you call it divine reality, auspicious world, but that is our world. You want to say anything, add anything? I normally like the interaction. I know it is a time for break. Madhvi, you can tell me. And if anyone want to say anything, share anything, feel free. We'll create time for some practice and experience. But first want to hear from Madhvi if it is time for some stretch break or now or later. I'm not hearing any, but let us create some couple of minutes of.
Sorry, I'm so sorry, but my audio just died.
Yeah, sure. We can hear you now.
You can hear, no, I mean, I couldn't hear you. I could hear a couple of words and then it just cut off and I've just been, so anyway, sorry about that. Yeah. So tell me what was it that I've missed?
Sure. Just asking, are we having a stretch break at this point?
Yeah, no, it's up to you. I mean, you've asked a question, so we can either go through the answers and then maybe just have a 5-minute break so people can, is that okay with you?
Yes.
Prashant Bhai, do you want to keep the share screen or you want to take it out?
If it is okay to keep this.
Yeah, then it's fine. Up to you, yeah.
So, okay, now, you were talking about, are we okay? Because there seems to be questions about, can you all hear? Is that all okay? Prashant Bhai, with you?
Yeah, I can hear very clearly.
Okay, so everybody, is it all okay, right? Okay, so I think this is the second time it's happened on my computer that, I don't know, the audio just, I don't touch the thing. And it's just because I picked up a message that's come, an urgent message from Sister Jayanti that I just looked in there. And anyway, it doesn't matter, but we're all okay now. So how long do we...
We'll take some questions. It will be nice.
No, now.
Yeah.
Would you like? Yeah. Okay, then they're not sort of there yet. Okay, well, Diana is saying that she seems to be just cutting out at times, but this could be with our computer like it is here on mine. So, I think we do need to keep on rechecking, our settings. Absolutely. So shall we just have, it's 11:33. So shall we just reconvene at 11:40?
Sure.
And then brothers and sisters, please type in your messages that we can take them through with Brother Prashant. And of course, meanwhile, I'll just say to you, Italo, I think, is representing all of us when he says, excellent, Dr. Prashant. Very good talk, yes. And I think one of the sisters is saying that the last C was a concern. And then Carol has shared a lovely comment. She's saying, utterly convincing, but I find it hard to live permanently in this awareness, the having the bigger picture, etc. And so it was lovely. So there are lots of lovely comments coming through, but brothers and sisters.
I want to say one thing there.
Sure.
All habits start somewhere. Good habits and bad habits start somewhere. So if we create 1 minute in that higher perspective, congratulate yourself for that. It is start of a new habit, and that will grow. We don't expect on the first day to be in that space forever, but the process starts and a new habit begins.
Also, Prashant Bhai, before we just take a break, lots of requests for the YouTube links or whatever you've shared. So if you don't mind, you can WhatsApp it or email to me, and then I will forward it along with the recordings. So one thing, okay, so we're going to now take a 6-minute break it is, and we will see you all in 6 minutes or so. So enjoy, get yourself a nice drink, have a bit of stretch. And yes, Italo, I will ask your question when we come back. And meanwhile, all the others, if you have any questions, start typing them now. Okay. See you soon in 5 minutes.
since the time is short, maybe we should start. Yes.
Yeah, perfect. We're just looking at this. I was just seeing if there's any questions. Okay, so is everyone back and ready to go? Yes. Wonderful. Oh, by the way, if there is if you want to keep your name anonymous, you don't want me to read out your name, then you just type in anon, okay? And then your question and your name will not be read out. But if you want to share with everybody, then you're very welcome to do that as well. Okay, so I've got two questions. One is an anonymous question, and this one is from Italo. He's saying, will I ever be free from habits?
Of course, we all the time create new habits.
Hmm.
I did not have the habit in the past. I have created habits in this life. So I create new habits and then they override the old habits. Now, new habits are based on new understanding, and that is the difference.
Excellent.
Like the people, we all behaved like children. We had childish behaviors, but as you get older, you don't behave like that because new understanding has come.
Wonderful. Okay, everyone all right with that? Yes, Italo, you're good? So the next question, this is an anonymous question, and this came in about 5 minutes before we took the break. And this is a sister who's saying it's very hard to stay in that awareness with the continuing barrage of problems one faces in daily life, and we have to resolve them. How is that possible? Does it make sense, this question?
Yeah, of course.
Great.
We deal with life. Either we can deal with the life and the problems from the perspective of the ego or from the perspective of the angel. Who will solve it better, ego or the angel?
Sorry, one question, Prashant, can we stop sharing for now because we are only getting that last slide on, or do you want to keep that on?
Yes, if it is okay.
Oh, fine. So maybe
they can make it smaller on their screen.
Yeah, so maybe you want to put it side by side, brothers and sisters, if that helps. Okay. No, that's lovely. Sorry, please continue.
Yeah, that was all I was saying.
All right. Okay, about that. Thank you so much. Right. So Kathy is saying, she says, please, can you explore about confusion and the enemies?
Sure.
Okay. And
yeah.
if one of the enemies is your body, tiredness and confusion because of a problem, which is to do with the body, like ME, fibromyalgia, then how to deal with it?
Yeah, sure. Here we are talking about the confusion of the soul. If the soul in dealing with the temporary story doesn't see story as story, then that is a confusion. And that's what we call childish confusion. And that is shown here, dotted green line. He has crossed the dotted green line into confusion. And we have the option to come out of that confusion. The enemy here is the ego. This is the main enemy. When we want to be free from ego, we have to come in the true self-respect. If the invisible player becomes conscious, then there is, once the invisible player becomes conscious, then the game is different. Then ego is not the king anymore. But if the invisible player is not even conscious, then ego is the king.
And we are so used to living with the ego that sometimes, it's a constant reminder, like you were saying, and constant practice of maintaining that awareness. And yes, of course, it's not going to be easy, but it's one of the things, like you said, we have to put it into practice and we need to develop new habits. And we can only do that by practicing more. So thank you so much for that.
I just want to tell one short story.
Yeah.
And then after a few minutes, we'll come back to the questions, if it is okay.
Yeah, fine. Perfect. So I'll switch off for now. I'll switch off the chat and then I'll come back on when you're ready.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, in this one story, it is more like a joke. One philosopher, he asks, what's the difference between optimist and pessimist? So, you know, we all know, no, not the optimist and the pessimist. What's the difference? And he answers, optimist wakes up in the morning and says, good morning, God. 3 words, good morning, God. Pessimist wakes up in the morning and says, good God, morning. So for him, morning is a problem and evening is also a problem. To go to work is a problem, come home is a problem, to prepare food is dealing with problems of the day. The day starts, okay, how many problems today? The same life for the other person, it is full of opportunities. Same life. You know, he is also going to work and there are people visiting and he's going. He's dealing with fun. And what makes this difference? Good God and good morning, God. You know, what is it that changes? Whether you are on one side of the line or the other side of the line. You cross the line, consciousness drops, and in that consciousness, it is good God. Everything is good God. And you come on the right side of the line, and then you find everything is a gift. As we said, every experience is a gift, every moment is a gift. I promised earlier we'll create some time for experience. So let us create that time now. And our aim very clearly is to address these big areas. And we said the world, you know, all the invisible players, and they are dealing with these 4 issues. These are the main areas. In the rest, many things are happening in the story, but these are the main areas we have to address first. And that is the confusion of the invisible player. He is trapped in the web. He doesn't even know he's trapped. He's unconscious. And his enemy, the ego, is in charge of the life. To make the whole thing complicated, there is this childish intellect. We call it stone intellect. And this is the situation of the world. To do anything about this, I have to change first. I start myself. And the best position to start, making a note of this also, we have the best intellect, spiritual intellect. We all have it. We have an option to use it. And with this intellect, what happens? I'm able to see the bigger map. That childish perspective is not the only option. I see the bigger map. I can clearly see that this physical world, everything is changing in front of my eyes and everything is temporary. I find it's very strange. Anyone would create bondages here when it is, everything's going to come to an end. It's temporary. With this spiritual sight, I see the reality beyond. That's what the very important thing for us. We see it in the image of the sky, world of light, in world of complete silence. Right now, we are seeing that sky. This sky is beyond the other sky, sky beyond sky. And in this dimension is the true family. We see them in the image of tiny points, and this appears normal. All are in the image of tiny, tiny points, conscious beings, presence. Each one has personality. These are living beings, living stars. This is the world of the family and the father. All alaukic, unearthly. But the spiritual intellect can see this in a natural way. This environment, this alaukic environment, helps the true self to become conscious. The soul becomes conscious. It wakes up. And for him, it is normal to be like a tiny point. It is normal to be immortal. Normal to be from this timeless sky. Normal to be independent from the physical world. He knows the physical world, but knows he is completely independent from it. He sees the physical world as a story. But whether it is a story or not a story, he finds it very strange. Anyone would get into a bondage. You get trapped in that temporary world. The true self sees himself as an invisible player. Understands that he is independent from the world, the story. Independent means he needs nothing from there. He exists forever without needing anything from the story. And the story cannot harm anyone. He is beyond harm. Never a victim, never a beggar. The invisible player knows he is very lucky. But his life, his world is a world of God. One who is the wisest and the highest. He knows he belongs to this family of God. Worthy to have the company of God and to be loved by God. He knows everyone is lucky. They all are the invisible players from this world. They are invisible princes who belong to the King of Kings. All are lucky, all are immortal, and all are beyond harm. As was said, nothing in the three worlds can harm anyone, even the slightest. All are worthy of love, and they are loving. They are lovely, they are loving, and they are lucky. All and always. We realize truth is beautiful. Truth for everyone is beautiful. This applies to all souls, human souls and souls beyond the human. All souls are immortal and they are good. When they are secure and they discover they are secure, they are divine. This reality is divine and alaukic, unearthly. The reality beyond the story. Everyone is worthy of love, always. All are worthy of respect, always. From this angle, we also see that all are perfect. There is no feeling something should change and someone should be different. All are viceless and egoless. And the story, when they see the story from beyond, when they see story as story, there is no complaint. In the Iron Age, you will get Iron Age plots. And in the Golden Age, you will get Golden Age plots. They are perfect plots. Just like if there is a dragon, part of a dragon, it will be perfect dragon. And if there is a part of a camel, it will be a perfect camel. The invisible player sees that there is beauty and perfection all around. All around. His world, alaukic world, and the story, things are good. He understands that every moment of the physical world is an extraordinary gift. The richness and abundance and extravagance, when it is a story and it is meant just for this one moment, this moment, there is abundance there. The next moment, another separate moment, different. He sees every moment as a gift. He needs nothing and he clings to nothing. He knows he's lucky. His world is full. His world is divya, alaukic, eternal, and complete. He knows everyone is good and everything is good. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, so now there are some questions, lots of anonymous questions, and also a couple of lovely comments. And I'm going to share a lovely comment here from Gurpreet. She's saying, I would like to take this chance to say thank you to Brother Prashant for his talk. I did his high consciousness retreat during Christmas, and it has stayed with me. I would highly recommend it. Souls around me are having loads of problems, and this has impacted me, but I have been able to detach myself and hover above the drama. What Prashant says about the temporary nature of drama has helped a lot too. So for the next couple of questions, what I'll be reading out, this is something you might want to keep in your mind. And I can send you details how you can get notification from Cambridge about all the different programs he does, okay? So please bear with me, but you need to message me first, and then I can send things to you. Also, there's a question again about the recordings. You need to subscribe to Intensive and Wands. All the programs we do, because of the GDPR rules, you do need to subscribe, and then I can send you the recordings and information, you know, for every event as it happens, because it's all sent to the groups who have subscribed. I hope that's okay with you. Now, there is this, 3 questions. So there's this question from our Chinese group, and the question is, how did hell come about?
Hell?
Hell, H-E-double-L.
Yeah. Yes, once we cross the line, as was discussed, we are different, completely different. You know, we get into this insecure mode. We are, you know, trying to address this insecurity from the confusion. As was said, we are trying to make ourselves secure in an insecure world. You know, everyone is begging. They are begging for love here. They are loved by God here, you know, and the same one is begging for love. They want someone to just sing a song. They are immortal. But here they are begging for a little bit longer life. They are, you know, they are full. You know, they are beings of bliss. But here they are hoping, craving for some kind of happiness from anywhere. Such is the situation because of confusion. And this craving and confusion takes them down the spiral. They want more. So more attachments, more ego, more. So that's why it is inner programming to create hell. But we can change it. You know, how does the hell change into heaven? We have the option to go up the spiral. So every minute we are playing with the higher consciousness. And as was said, it is a game of now. It is not a long, we play with it now. And every minute you are playing with it, you are going up the spiral. Once the consciousness changes, everything else follows.
Okay. Lovely comment. Very interesting comment here from Diana. And she's saying, I would not really go to see a drama about destruction. Obviously, she wouldn't choose, quite rightly. She says, yet soon we will have no choice in this. So this is so important to realize that we can wake up to our true selves. So again, thank you for that, Prashant. Gurpreet again is saying, thank you for your jewels. And so let's come down to other questions. Okay, We've got 2 anonymous questions before I come to the ones in the chat box, because these sister and brother have written separately to the WhatsApp number. So, when you were talking about independence or something and talking about the pain in the body and having that higher awareness, the sister wrote and she says, how to deal with awful pain and cancer illness of the body. How can one be independent with all this pain when it is so difficult to even do basic things?
Sure.
And let me add another bit to it. This is the other question. This brother is saying, I did not ask to take this human birth. Why? So why am I pushed into it?
Yeah. First, let us take this question about the illness.
Sure.
And a simple thing to play with for just 1 minute at a time. And for this 1 minute, see the perspective of the soul. And that's what we mean by invisible player. Just for 1 minute. But let that 1 minute be 100%, not mixed. So like when I am saying soul or invisible player, it is different to Prashant. Prashant is part of the story. And Prashant has a beginning, end, and Prashant can break his bones. That is part of the story. But the invisible player is the invisible actor. He's different. And I have the option to see the invisible player very, very clearly and his perspective for 1 minute. And invisible player is healthy. He's immortal. He's the one who is beyond harm. And as was said, we have the intellect, spiritual intellect, to see this, see from another level. We see a step back, and just see that level. And you realize that you are completely different to the body and the role and everything that goes on at that drama level. That is a script and that's the drama. Okay, in the past we created bondages. That's why, everything becomes so big, because of the bondages. Now, in this 1 minute, you are freeing yourselves from the bondages. Bondage even from the body. Even when you are in the body, internally you are freeing yourself. And it is movement up the spiral. But you will also notice during that minute that silent peace comes, security comes, different glimpses come, glimpses of happiness come. And all these glimpses reduce the pain. It is something to play with. We all got different life situations, but as we start playing with it, we get better.
Okay. So the next question, I did not ask to take this human birth. Why am I pushed into it?
Sure. So now that we are here, let us enjoy it.
I think she means, why did I come here?
Now, there are different reasons.
Yeah.
You do not know whether you chose it. Today you feel you don't need the birth, but you don't know what you decided 20 years ago or 30 years ago when you came. We don't remember. But now that we are here, and since it is a drama, it's a drama. Whether I was to play the part of one person or another Cinderella or a prince, it's really secondary. We enjoy the whole plot. Internally we know there is a bigger reality beyond.
And also, I think sister, she just messaged to say she's quite new. She's a Zoom baby, so she's recently finished her course. So bless you. Yeah, that's okay. But you just stay, just keep with it and try to listen to loads of different sharings by some of our senior yogis. And I promise you will, really find a very happy place where you are, okay, about this. And I think most of us have asked this question when we were new. So absolutely don't feel bad about it, okay? This is a very open forum. We are all here to learn together and to support each other. So whatever is real for you and is concerning you, there, all our yogi speakers are here to help, okay? So thank you, and don't worry about that. No, you're not upset me or Brother Prashant, bless you. So anonymous question. In all countries and among countries, concepts of economic and social organization, as well as political systems, are in conflict. Does the detachment we aim for mean that we should be indifferent to the system that prevails where we live? Is social and political action a nonsense for a BK?
Yeah, sure. As was said before, you are interacting in this world either from the position of ego or from the position of the angel. And if you are in the position of the angel, your understanding is better, you are thinking more clearly, your intervention can only be better. From the lower consciousness, your intervention, starting from confusion, whatever you are doing, it is not going to be as efficient. So that is first thing. And we always intervene in everything. Like right now, something was to happen in front of you, you would intervene. Just a question of, is it from the lower consciousness or higher consciousness? That is all. That's the difference.
That's an excellent practice. And, really, we just need to remind ourselves, I know that's the key. But Prashant Bhai, I just want to ask you, ages ago, there was a little booklet you had produced.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Is it available? Yeah. Where?
Gemini.
Oh, is it? Is it actually there in Inspired Stillness in our bookshop or the places where they can order books from? Yes?
I think so. Yes.
Okay. So, Prashant Bhai, if you don't mind, can you send me the full details on that as well? Sure. So I can send it off to the group. I will share whatever Prashant Bhai shares with me. I'm very happy to send it all off to you. Okay. Lovely comment from Gisela. She's saying very deep and intense. Thanks for all the wisdom and knowledge. Now, there's a question from the Turkish group. What was the reason or connection for you to show us the second and third video, Prashant Bhai?
Yeah, sure. In the second video is to show that the reality of the soul is real and scientific. That it is not just a concept, it is much more than a concept or a belief or a faith. The reason once you understand that soul exists, then everything else fits in. Without that full conviction, we are not going to shift our positioning. We are not going to see the story as a story. Ego needs to be dissolved, and ego will have lots of arguments to keep you within the story. Understand us? So we need some material to convince ego that this is really a story and that is the real world. We have to operate from another level. So that is one reason why I showed Ian Stevenson's interview. But the third one you saw, it showed that person was experiencing injuries and the body was breaking the bones and blood was coming, but he was experiencing bliss. And what was happening there? All that happened was soul was discovering that there was soul conscious experience. That's what he says. There was out of body experience. And as a result, he knew that he is not harmed. Soul understands he is beyond harm. And he was not just neutral observing it, but there was an experience of bliss. So here we are talking about serious thing. Body is falling from the height and breaking and may die, these kind of things. But his experience was of bliss. Just gives you an insight, that this is also the experience of many people who have near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences. They experience bliss. It is not a neutral thing, but a positive. And what we are seeing here, this dimension beyond, this dimension, what we use the word beyond, world beyond, it's a world of happiness. It is not just a world of peace, but it's a world. We just need to come there. There is happiness there.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned you don't need cakes to be happy. Such our starting position is of happiness.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
I want to show another short video if there is time.
Yeah, sure. Hi. And then there is one more question which I'll come into afterwards, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So yes, if you'd like to show the video now, that'd be lovely.
Okay.
Imagine if all of a sudden you are to face a lion with big fangs. You won't like that lion. You will see yourself as a victim. You'll see that lion is definitely bad and you have to defend yourself. You will fight or flight, freeze or faint. It would be very natural for anyone because they feel they can be harmed in this situation. But if that same lion was in a cage, your reactions will be different. All that has changed is that the lion can't harm you. You would love to see him. You wouldn't have any fear. You would love that lion. You might want to feed him. So the experiences are very different. The moment you know you are safe, and that in that situation, you're beyond harm. So let's take the scene of this world. When we approach this world with our present ego consciousness, the ego feels that this physical world can potentially harm him. And we then respond in the same way, like the man facing a lion with fangs. We think the world is bad and spend our lives defending ourselves from this bad world. So even for a few minutes, we have an option to grasp the perspective of complete independence. The option to see the world from a higher consciousness. We call it the perspective of an invisible guest in the physical world. The guest knows of a guaranteed exit, and the physical world can't harm them even the slightest. An invisible guest responds with an attitude of a person with a harmless lion in the cage. They find this whole world is good and every moment is a gift. They are approaching this world with an attitude of fun and lightness. They love this world. They feel the universe is positive. It is the same world, but a change in consciousness.
That is a beautiful video. And I think I can guess whose voice that was. Was it you, Sarah? Well, I think it's beautiful. And maybe Prashant Bhai, if you can even send me a link to this, because I think it's something very, very special, and I'd love to share it with the group. Okay. So, okay, now the last question, I will read it out to you, but if I may suggest that we keep it, we merge it with the final meditation that or commentary you'll be doing. So, anonymous question again. It says, how can you experience the blissful silence? So maybe we can do that at the end, if you know, if that's okay with you, Bhai, or okay.
Yes,
So meanwhile, is that okay? Yeah. So meanwhile, let me just very quickly run through the announcements. Before anything, of course, a big thanks to Prashant Bhai and to each and every one of you who's really taken time out of your, you know, timetables. I know it's in parts of America, it's middle of the night or Amrit Vela time, and in other parts it's the evening, and you know, but you all made the effort to be here. So what I say is give yourselves a big hug. And well done to you all. So let me tell you a little bit about our forthcoming events. You know, as you know, most of you know who are here, that we have our monthly intensive, the UK intensive, every month on the first Saturday of the month. So next month on Saturday, the 2nd of April, we have with us Brother Charlie Hogg. And he will be sharing something very special with us. But the topic, etc., I will send out to you when I send out the messages to the group. So it's very important you subscribe and also share this information with other brothers and sisters in our BK family, new students, new Brahmins, brothers, sisters, whoever you think would benefit, okay? Additionally, some of you may not know, but we also host weekly programs. Now, the aim here is really to focus it for the public, but we have such experienced yogis and people take so much benefit out of it that I really do think you might want to share. But this is the one program you can share with newcomers, outsiders, contact souls, whoever you think, again, would benefit. So this coming Tuesday, the 8th of March, we have Denise Lawrence, Sister Denise Lawrence, and another very powerful topic, restoring your rightful place in a balance of power. Okay, so like I said, anyone that you know outside who could really benefit from this spiritual sustenance, please share this info with them. And we look forward to welcoming you on Tuesdays as well. Like I've said, you need to subscribe if you wish to receive all the information. I've also put my WhatsApp number there for queries only. Now, was there anything else before the meditation, Prashant Bhai? Then I would like to invite our Anna Bhai and all our translators. Big thanks to our wonderful translators. I know some of them have got so many other programs to connect with and translate for, but really a big thanks to all of you. So my sisters and brothers, if you can please unmute yourselves and put your cameras on. And Anna Bhai, if you can do that as well. And Sarah, it'll be lovely if you could join us. And so let me see, Pavitra, Hilal, are you there? Eva, hello, all of you. Felisa, it's great to see you all. So now over to you, Prashant Bhai. Shall we have our meditation? And we're going to all be connected with you.
So during these few minutes, we experiment with concentration. And in a second, we see that dimension beyond. Understand this is the supreme home of all the souls. We see it in the image of a sky. World of light. Just as we are speaking of this, our attention is there, as if our mind is experiencing that region of light. And the important word there is beyond. And our next step is we engage with that word. And by this word engage, we mean we are actively experiencing, noticing things. We are there in that dimension, in that region. Aware of the silence of this region. Aware of the timelessness of this world. Aware of the presence of the invisible brothers in this region. This is the home of the Supreme Friend. We are engaged, which means this is immersed experience. All this alaukic environment helps the true self to become conscious. And it is natural for him to be from this region for the true self. He realizes everyone is good. All are desireless, sorrowless, egoless. All are good, and everything is good. He is aware that at a distance there is the grand performance. He knows beforehand it is a temporary story. And it has got different episodes. Story is harmless. Just this feeling of everyone is good, everyone is safe, and everything is good. We stay with this feeling. And as we continue on our journey, we remember this beautiful truth.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Brother Prashant. Thank you to each and every one of you. Take our love with you and let us give a lot of love and light to all the souls who are suffering. Add another 15 minutes to your meditation if you can, because we here are definitely adding more from 9 to 9:15, wherever you are. But this is just a request. It's entirely up to you. So lots of love, everyone. Thank you, Anabai, Manuel, Pavitra, Hilal, Eva, and everybody who's here. It's Felisa. Thank you again for bringing all the, every soul from every community and every country is getting together. Thanks to our wonderful translators. Big, big thanks to Sarah. And of course, our brother Prashant. We look forward to welcoming you very soon. Lots of love, everyone. Keep sparkling. We see you soon. Take care. Take care.